All right. That's the sound of another Malarkey episode coming right at ya. I am your host, Matt, and sitting across the aisle from where I'm sitting is my co-host, Mr. John. How's it going, sir?
Tip.
Another Sunday, John. Did you think you would be here again with me on another Sunday night?
No. It's like that movie Groundhog Day.
It seems like it's the same shit over and over, right?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. It's like I have no idea what we're doing or talking about today at all.
You never do.
Usually I'll ask you.
I never tell you. Unless you need to know.
Yeah, well, it's a movie or something.
Yeah.
But
That's the only time I tell you if it's a movie.
Yeah.
Because you have to watch it.
Yeah.
Or rewatch it. Most of the times you have to rewatch it.
Yeah. But usually it's like there's something, but I have no idea what we're doing. I think we're just going to wing it.
It's much like your life. You don't know what's going to happen, right?
I guess so.
That's the beauty of it.
Call it beauty, I guess. Fear.
Would you want to know, though, what we're talking about every week, though? It's a little bit more fun not to know.
Nah. Not if I don't have to.
All right.
But sometimes, like, I don't want you to, like, you spend a week, like, brushing up on, like, quantum physics. You're like, John, what do you have to say about this?
Well, John, you wanna hear a little bit of a confession, and maybe this will make you feel a little better. I didn't pick out the topic until like this morning.
Okay.
I sort of forgotten about it.
Is it quantum physics?
That's quantum physics. So I brushed up the last 6 hours.
No,
it's like it's a holiday week, and I was like, yeah, I'll come up with something tomorrow, and I just kept saying that every day.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah. What was yours?
We can talk about it because it's a non-denominational. Is that right? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Non-denominational holiday.
Every religion celebrates it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
In America, at least.
Yeah, in America.
Is it?
Do you know anybody who doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving?
No. I remember being... it's funny. This was maybe sound stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's a kid in high school who I rode the bus with,
and
he was Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking, I wasn't even trying to be funny. I was like, you celebrate Thanksgiving? And he got mad. He goes, everybody celebrates fucking Thanksgiving. Snapped at me. I was like, oh, my bad. I don't think about it.
Well, I would imagine the only difference is maybe some certain subsets of like religions. Maybe they eat different foods. But I would imagine most people eat turkey, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard some people like they don't like turkey, so they'll
Who was it? Oh my God! Somebody recently told me their friend was having a vegan Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
You're not a vegan?
No.
You wouldn't do vegan?
No.
Would you ever go vegan?
No.
I don't think I could ever go vegan either. I like meat too much. I understand the reason behind why people go vegan, but it's too restrictive of a diet to me.
I was a vegan all through high school, and then I lost my virginity.
Were you really?
Yeah.
That joke would have been much funnier if you didn't use virginity.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you should have set me up better.
Yeah. Like he's like, I was a vegan in high school. Like you needed a different punchline.
Rewind.
Want me to edit this out so you can read? Like, okay, I'll edit this out and then do the joke properly, John. So like,
I'll tell you what.
So you don't think you could ever do like be vegan?
Nah, I was a vegan in high school, and then I met this slut.
Not any better. I think your first joke was funnier. Your first punchline.
Turned out she was not a vegan at all. Yeah.
So, it was Thanksgiving this past week, and wouldn't you know, it's now December 1st, and now Christmas time comes by. It comes like quickly every year, right? It seems like
I don't like it.
It's like Thanksgiving, and then you don't even get like chance to breathe, and it's Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, you can breathe.
Well, I'm like holding my breath all of December.
I thought this podcast would be good.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. But I figure since we are entering the month of December, and we're gonna get into John's favorite holiday, Christmas.
That's called sarcasm.
I figure I would skew our topic in this week's episode towards a little Christmas time cheer. But of course, this is the Malarkey Hour, John, so we can't just be Christmassy.
Okay.
We're not gonna talk about Hallmark movie. I know, even though you're probably an expert in Hallmark movies, but
I'm a bit of a
you've seen enough of them, or you've glanced at enough of them to probably
glance
to get
at
together a generic plot of what it entails the majority of Hallmark movies.
Quick glance for an hour and a half
Right.
or two at a time.
How many Hallmark movies do you think you've seen? Christmas.
Never
Hallmark.
seen a whole one.
Christmas.
I really haven't.
Yeah. Man.
I'll watch about 15, 20 minutes at a time.
And like Christmas time, this is prime like.
Oh, because you already
season,
know,
right?
like anytime I'm around my mom and she's watching, I'm like I just get sucked in. I know a few people that watch them.
Yeah, my sister watches them.
Yeah. And it's weird.
Yeah.
They're all the same story over and over.
They all have happy endings. I think that's the reason people like to see them.
Christmas miracle at the end.
Yeah, it's always.
I always bet on Christmas miracle. Yeah.
You're betting 100 on that?
I like to gamble.
You're betting on 1,000 there.
Yeah, you got to put up.
put up a good amount.
Put up about 400 to win 100. Let's do it. It's worth it.
So you know our segment's not gonna be a happy Christmas time.
We're going for Christmas serial killers. Oh, don't! Are you serious? Are you serious?
So
I was being sarcastic.
as you know, John, one of our
Jesus
segments.
Christ. I know you too well.
One of our segments that we like to do here on the
I was
Malarkey
being
Hour.
so goddamn
Hey,
sarcastic.
so you figured it out. This is the first. I think this is the first time you ever figured out the segment. You already
The
said it.
icicle killer.
It's the perfect weapon, right? Your murder weapon disappears.
Melts.
It melts, right?
Yeah.
So as you know,
Unless it's really cold and still there, like
a week later,
Yeah.
you're like, ah, crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you know, one of our segments that we like to do on the Malarkey Hour is called Serial Killer Corner. So I figure we'll combine the two and we do Serial Killer Corner, but we have to do a little bit of a twist. So I couldn't find a serial killer that did all their killings during Christmas time. So I figure we'll do a little bit of a twist on the segment, and we'll talk about different murders that happened during Christmas time.
That's delightful.
Very delightful. A little bit different than those Hallmark movies your mother is used to.
Yeah.
So let's get started, John. Are you ready? Are you ready for some?
Go for it.
Some.
I don't know any of this, but go for it.
Some Christmas stories. All right, John. The first one. It's about a lady named Michelle Dowd, and she was a little bit down on her luck around Christmas time. So, a lady named Patty White offered her a place to stay over the Christmas season.
So it's gonna end happy.
I'm sorry, John. It's not gonna. But Michelle was delighted. You know, like it's really nice when somebody offers you a place to stay when you don't have a place to stay, especially around Christmas time, right? But unfortunately, Patty had other motives on why I should let Michelle stay at her place. One of them involved stealing all her new housemates' credit cards, killing her, and leaving her among a trashed Christmas tree to look like a bungled burglary.
Credit card thing's got to be the meanest part.
The scene was discovered by Michelle's twin brother Phil, who went to check in on her after she failed to show
Were
up.
they identical?
That's just his twin brother. So he went to go look for her, and he saw her.
It'd be funny if like she freaked out, like you're still alive.
You saw him, yeah.
Zombie and shit.
So Phil saw his sister's foot among a pile of wrapped Christmas presents.
But they're not identical. They're brother and sister. In fact, you know what's funny? I was making a joke when I asked if they're identical because I knew she was a girl.
Yeah, no, they're not identical.
And then then you made me think that they were they might be. I was like, okay, I heard wrong.
No.
Thought they just had a feminine name.
No.
I was like, okay, I got that wrong.
No, the unfortunate part, I didn't mention Michelle was a 67-year-old Florida woman, and Patty White was 40.
So the killer is the 60s.
The 40-year-old.
Okay, 40-year-old.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
so
killed the 67-year-old.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bad way to.
Usually, you don't start killing like in your late 60s, right?
No, I mean the lady was 40.
No, I'm saying that's why it makes more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah.
It's like prime.
Like you would have done it before, right? Before, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like bucket list time.
But I mean, it's a little fucked up, right? You offer your house up, to somebody, and they do this to you.
Yeah, credit card thing is horrible.
Right.
Gruesome.
Yeah. And I think the insulting part is that she just threw her with some Christmas gifts. Like she threw away the Christmas gifts.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
All right. Like that's just like.
I heard it was a Discover card with a terrible interest rate.
Was it?
Yeah, so it made it more fucked up.
One of the things that the brother said he found.
This episode is brought to you by Discover.
Actually, this is sort of funny, even though it's a little macabre. He says the brother. He was quoted by the newspaper here. He said he saw an empty vodka bottle nearby, which he thinks was a prop to divert attention from the real killer. I don't know what that means, but it's a little funny.
An empty vodka bottle.
Yeah. Actually, police said that White, the murderer, was an ex-girlfriend of the victim's nephew, and was considered a family friend. They said that White had returned to Florida to rob O'Dowd after staying with relatives in South Carolina.
All right.
Yeah, so that's terrible, right? It's like the worst part is that that debit card, that card that she stole, she withdrew $1,000 at 2 ATMs in Florida.
I was gonna say,
just catching on video at the 2 different locations.
Yeah, because you could probably only get like 4 or 5 at a time.
Mm-hmm. And what's fucked up is the reason she was able to do that is that O'Dowd trusted her enough that she gave her PIN number so that she could go buy groceries for them. So that's why she needed the PIN number.
What's her last name? Dowd?
O'Dowd.
Yeah,
that's the murder victim.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Sounds like she was a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah. All right, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, John, next story. Let's move on.
It's going to get cheerful now.
So this one happened in Victoria, Australia on Christmas Day 2013 or 2013. I don't know. People have different ways of saying.
I like to say 2013.
You like to say 2013? It seems like it's
less syllables.
Right? 2013, 2013.
Less wordy.
2013.
It's like when they made that movie. What do they call it? Is it 2012, right?
Yeah. I think they call it 2012, no?
I don't think they called it 2012.
They didn't?
I think you called it 2012.
You think so? You think that's what they did?
You probably went to the movie and like, can I get a ticket for 2012?
And they're like, this fucking idiot.
Yeah, I'm like, fucking wasting my goddamn time. With your syllables.
Joke's on you, I never saw 2012 at the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it at home.
He rented a Blockbuster right before they closed.
I wish there's still Blockbusters around.
Do you guys have 2012 and stuff?
You're still down to go to that last one in Oregon?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make that road trip, John. We talked about it before.
Yeah, we should do something else while we're there. But I'm down.
So this next gruesome tale took place on Christmas Day of 2013. And involved a man named William Bill Stevenson. He paid the ultimate price for keeping poor company as his friends, John. He had 2 meth addicts.
I can relate to some of that.
Right?
So far.
Right? So 2 of his friends, they were both meth addicts, Daniel Kerr and Darren Lewis. They killed them in one of the most violent ways you can think of, John. Although their motives were not entirely clear, the pair drove Stevenson out to bushland because they were in Australia, and began beating him about the head with a large rock. Kerr then stabbed the man to death while cackling about their Kill Bill plans. The couple then set the car alight and casually walked home.
Kill Bill plans.
Yeah, Kill Bill
Is
plans.
this gonna make more sense in a second?
Yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more on it. Let me
Kill it with a Hattori Hanzo sword.
Let me read the story. So Daniel Kerr, 37, was sentenced. This is the new story. Was sentenced after pleading guilty in the Victorian Supreme Court to the murder of William Stevenson. Mr. Stevenson was bashed and stabbed to death in bushland north of Bendigo before his body was put in a car and set alight on December 25th of 2013. Her accomplice, Darren Lewis, 47, is serving a 10-year prison term over the death. And since he was her accomplice.
Could be. That's not that long.
10 years, but she got
What did she do?
She was the one who actually killed them. So she's actually she got 21 years. I guess Australia has different laws, so they're a little bit more lenient on their murders.
Wait, she got 21, but she's serving 10?
No. She got 21 years. The guy who helped her got 10, but she's the one who did the actual killing.
So the killer got 21.
Mm-hmm.
The accomplice got 10.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha. Would you help me bury a body?
I will tell you off the air my answer.
Okay. I mean, when I'm saying like again.
Right.
I know you said never again, but
never again.
Shit happens.
Right. That is a tough one, right? Like your friend comes to you, it's like, "Hey, I need your help." You're like, "Sure." Like, what do you need? Help with the couch? You're like, no, something a little bit bigger. Oh, actually, something a little smaller than the couch. You're like, "Whoo!" All right, I thought you were going to ask me to move your couch.
Right. It's an armoire. Oh, no. With a body in it. Why is this armoire so heavy? Limbs. Take out those top drawers to try to make it lighter.
Uh-huh.
Armoires have drawers or no? Depends, right?
The armoire, I forget what technically constitutes an armoire. Like, they have the opening doors. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they do have the drawers underneath them. I think it's an armoire. Yeah.
It's like the one with the lane.
Yeah, I was going to say the Seinfeld. Yeah. They're trying to move that armoire.
But like when you move like dressers and stuff, you take the drawers out.
Mm-hmm.
That would be funny, right? If like somebody just asked you to help move like a dresser. Mm-hmm. And not funny, but and then there's just limbs. It's like that's how you find out. It's like,
yeah, I guess. So apparently, Kerr told police, the woman who's doing the 21 years, that she stayed with the murder victim different periods during that year of 2013. She told police that during that period of time, it featured regular binges on ice, and she was regularly off her head on drugs. So apparently, after a fight on Christmas Day, Kerr and Lewis, a fellow ice user, hatched the plan to kill Mr. Stevenson.
A fellow ice user.
Lewis would later tell police that Kerr laughed as she referred to the popular film Kill Bill. So they're killing Bill. That was his name, Bill.
Ah.
Yeah.
I was like thinking like they were gonna like bury her
the whole plot
alive
of Kill Bill.
And then
yeah.
Hattori Hanzo sword.
Kerr hit the man over the head with a rock, stabbed him in the face, and bashed him with a tree branch.
I like how he's just like, it's like a video game where you have like 3 different weapons to choose from. He just like utilize 3 different things.
Right?
Rock, knife, tree branch. It's like when you're playing, it's like you get to pick it at the bottom of the screen.
All right. The weirdest like murder. Yeah.
Use the rock.
So Kerr taunted Mr. Stevenson, the murder victim, as he pleaded for his life. The victim repeatedly said, "Please don't."
Yeah, I mean that usually works.
Kerr and Lewis were arrested a few days later, initially denying any involvement, and the justice who was presiding over this said that Kerr showed no remorse. I failed to show any remorse, and tried to shift the majority of the blame to Lewis.
He did it.
Essentially, so The moral of the story, kids, is watch who you do meth with, because it might not be the best people.
Right.
They might not have the best intentions in mind for you.
That's true.
So.
Well, it's best to take some knowledge away from all this.
Yeah.
Lesson.
So this next story, John, involves a teen gang that is titled here "Marvelous Teen Gang."
Who named that gang?
So there was 4 of them, John, and they called themselves the Downtown Posse.
Wait, so who named the Marvelous Teen Gang?
So I'll tell you right now. So it involved.
Did they snap their fingers?
Yo,
with their switchblades? Starts breaking into song.
Right, like the what's it, West Side Story?
Mm-hmm.
No, the gang involved. They were Laura Taylor, 16 years old, DeMarcus Smith, 17 years old, Heather Matthews, 20, and Marvelous Keen, 19.
Hey, that 20-year-old. How did he get in?
Heather?
It's the Marvelous Teen Gang.
Marvelous Keen. Was 19.
I thought I heard teen.
No, Marvelous Keen.
Because they were all teenagers, and then I heard the 20-year-old.
No, Marvelous Keen.
I was like, what happened?
No, his name was Marvelous Keen. He was 19.
Who was the 20-year-old?
That was Heather Matthews.
Oh, they're like, it was funny, because that's what I heard was teen.
Uh-huh.
Heather, I'm sorry, but you're too fucking old. I know you.
I know you really want to be involved in this, and
you're gonna have to prove yourself.
So apparently, they went on a 3-day killing spree, John, and it started on Christmas Eve.
It's like Vegas. It's like 3 days. 3 days max.
Yeah, I think you can't go beyond that.
No.
Is that what it is? So
Yeah.
like, if they wanted to do like the 4th day, we're like, no, let's just stay in our hotel rooms, or like let's sleep this off, or let's go, catch a show. Yeah.
It's getting boring.
Let's go catch a show.
No.
Yeah. No.
I'm exhausted. I want to go home.
So this 3-day killing binge started on Christmas Eve, 1992, and they murdered 6 people. That involved strangers, acquaintances, and ex-lovers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a joy killing spree. The police said once they tasted blood, they couldn't stop.
Literally.
So the ringleader was
salty.
So the ringleader was Marvelous Keen. He was a huge man. And apparently, Laura Taylor, one of the teens involved, she goaded her pals by declaring, "Let's get some drama in our lives."
How about old ass Heather?
Oh, that's Heather. Which is that's Heather was the one with the car, apparently. No, I don't know. So apparently, Keen.
I could buy cigarettes.
Right.
She had a fake ID, and she like buying like alcohol.
So apparently, the ringleader, he wasn't your stereotypical like killer. He had never been arrested and was a good student until his older brother was killed while committing a robbery the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that had a profound effect on him, and he became depressed, virtually gave up on his educational efforts for a time, and was morose and introspective.
What do you think he was studying?
I don't know.
Criminology.
Right. Keen moved to California to live with his father, but returned to Dayton, is where the murders happened, in August 1992 after conflicts over money. He walked away from his mother's Dayton home early that December and landed in a flop house on Yuma Place across the Great Miami River from downtown Dayton. This
is in Ohio?
This is Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
There, him and his pals connived how to make a quick buck for Christmas. So they settled on a plan to rob Joseph Wilkerson, 34, an acquaintance of Taylor, by promising a Christmas Eve orgy with the 2 women. This is where Heather becomes involved. The 20-year-old.
I was gonna say, okay.
They went to his Dayton home and lashed him to his bed. They tied him up, essentially, before Keen stepped in and shot him through the heart.
Don't ever fall for that, people.
So they made off. This is their loot. This is what they made off with, John. A microwave oven, a small TV, a phone, curling iron, and blow dryer, along with Wilkerson's car.
There's just like one meth head, like, grab the curling iron.
Later that same day, Danita Gillette, an 18-year-old mother, became the second victim. She was making a call in a phone booth back when phone booths were necessary.
It's like the one from that movie with Colin Farrell.
Phone booth, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't called phone booth.
Yeah, it was. I was like, it wasn't.
I should have made a better joke. I shouldn't have said phone booth. I should have said like that movie, but never mind. It's like your earlier joke.
Telephone box.
Right. So she became the second victim. She was making a call in a phone booth, and Keene pointed a gun to the glass and said, "You want to guess what he said, John?"
Okay, pointed the gun to the glass.
And what did you think he said to this poor woman?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of some cheesy, like, Schwarzenegger type of like line, but just go for it.
Merry Christmas, bitch.
Oh, my God.
Merry Christmas, bitch.
I was about to say Merry Christmas, motherfucker.
That's all lame. That's the lame line he gave her before he killed this poor woman. I was more insulted. Like, you really? That's the line. That's the last words I hear. That lame fucking like.
How do you prove that? I guess other people would.
Oh, they admitted it. Like, apparently this. Yeah.
It's funny. He just like wrote it later. It's like
this is his best line.
The best he could come up with.
They took.
I said yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Right. They took her coat and Fila sneakers. Did you ever have Fila sneakers? Those were popular in the 90s.
Sneakers?
Fila. Fila.
I don't know if I did. I had like one pair. I don't think I did though. I don't. I would see other kids with them.
So they took her coat and her sneakers, and then they fired 9 shots into the booth. As she begged for her life.
You're gonna have a lot of room to like dodge when you're in that booth.
Yeah. All she had was 50 cents in her pocket.
Again, who's... Dude. We have the quarters.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So the last...
Not even a curling iron on her.
No. So the last... Yeah, I think they thought like, hey, we're going to get curling irons at every person we kill today. They got a little...
That's how they got caught. They were selling a suspicious amount of curling irons.
Right. It's like, there's a spree of stolen curling irons in the area. These people happen to like have a surplus of this. So their last victim that day, John, that Christmas Eve day, was Heather Matthews, the old ass woman was with them. Her ex-boyfriend, Jeffrey Wright.
Listen, Heather, we have to talk. You told us you were 19. I mean, I only had this brilliant idea. Snatch these curling irons.
I'll show you a picture of her. She actually looks a lot older than 20, though. Heather.
Meth will do that.
She's the white lady. You see her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she looks way...
Whose mom are you, Heather?
Right? She looks a lot older than 20. I think she's lying about her age.
She's 17.
So apparently that was her next victim, her ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Wright. They shot him 4 times in the legs, outside his house, but he survived.
Were they aiming for the legs?
I don't know.
Like, is that a statement?
No. So the next day on Christmas morning, Laura Taylor, the other woman in the group, she put a deadly shot in the head of her own ex-boyfriend, Richmond Maddox. They killed him, shoot him in the head. And then the next, Keene and Smith carjacked a Dodge Shadow at a gas station. You ever had a Dodge Shadow?
No, I'm trying to remember what they look like.
Yeah, me too. So that was their spree on Christmas Day. So the next day, early on December 26th, the gang robbed a mini mart. They shot and killed the lady behind the counter, Sarah Abram, 38, after she handed over the contents of the till, $44.
Damn.
So at this point, let's go back to what they've had. They have a curling iron, they have a car, they have 50 cents, they have a coat, they have some Fila sneakers, and they got $44.
Yeah.
All in 3 days' work.
You think they're like, bitch, where's your curling iron? I'm sorry. So
okay. So after they killed this poor woman, she's doing her job. They decided to cover their tracks by committing 2 more murders.
Okay, that sounds like an oxymoron there.
Yeah. So
are they killing each other now?
No. So okay, that's close. So apparently, two acquaintances from the same place, Marvin Washington, 19, and Wendy Cottrell, 16. They both had witnessed the shooting of Wright, the guy they shot in the legs. Fearing that they would snitch.
What happened to Wright?
He survived.
I was saying you probably will survive getting shot in the legs.
Yeah, but apparently these other two people who lived in the same house that they were living in, they saw them shoot Wright in the legs. So fearing that they would snitch, the gang took him to a gravel pit where Keene and Smith killed them.
Serial killers should not have roommates that are not other serial killers.
Right.
Like, it's just not smart. It's like,
And apparently, one of the people they killed, they took her shoes. Oh, there, yeah.
were those another pair of feelers?
Didn't indicate what type of shoe were it was. So apparently,
There were two like different shoes. Have fun selling those.
Right. So
I have a New Balance in a 9.
Well, let's see, different sizes.
Yeah, I've got this boot. It's a 10.5.
Lucky
17.
me, I haven't. My left is a 9.5, and for some reason my right is a 10.
Right. It's a very niche market.
All right. So there's
It's like wait, and like you're getting the sold. It's like, you know what? Throwing a curling iron. Sold. Steel sounds too good.
So John, this very thought out spree could have kept going, but it ended by chance. So remember that Dodge Shadow that they
Is Chance a guy?
No. This is the just like the noun Chance.
Right. Chance was a friend of Heather's.
Remember that black Dodge Shadow that they stole a few days prior at the gas station?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, Police Sergeant John Huber spotted that Dodge Shadow. It had been reported carjacked the day before when they stole it. He pulled over the car, believing he was arresting car thieves, but found several guns in the car. Huber said surprisingly they all cooperated and put their hands up. At that point, the police obviously were unaware that Dayton was in the midst of one of the worst killing spree in its history.
Mm-hmm.
The body of Wilkerson, their first victim, and the gravel pit victims had not yet been found. And in a city accustomed to fewer than one murder a week, the cluster of 3 other killings had not yet been linked.
Okay.
But eventually, detectives knitted together the bizarre story.
They were pretty random, right?
Yeah. And apparently, because it was Christmas time, they had nothing else to do. And like, hey, let's try to solve these murders.
Yeah.
So,
I try to go to the movies.
On Christmas?
Well, not Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good movies come out around the holidays.
Yeah.
And I always like movies or murder. And
movies.
I typically pick movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so, John.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk after.
Yeah. So the Dayton 4 were charged with multiple felonies, including capital murder. So as the majority of them were juveniles under the law, Smith and Taylor were.
Where's this guy Chance in all this?
Smith and Taylor were immune from capital punishment. And Matthews, the old ass lady, cut a deal, testifying after prosecutors agreed not to seek her execution. But Keene was not spared.
Wait, who cut a deal?
The old ass lady,
Heather.
Heather. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she
Heather is not 20.
So did not try to seek her. She's 40, right? She looks like
Dude, she does not look 20.
Yeah. Meth does that to you, I guess.
Not that fast. Like,
but poor old Marvelous was not as lucky, John. So after his arrest, he sent a letter of remorse to his childhood church in Dayton, and defense attorney argued he suffered a form of post-traumatic stress disorder related to the death of his brother. But Keene was convicted and condemned to die. And he was executed on July 21st, 2009.
so we've learned is that Ohio has the death penalty.
No, yeah. And his last words were...
We're in Texas, guys. Do we?
Yeah, we do. So these were Keene's last words. No, I have no words.
At least it's straightforward.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's pretty gruesome, right? Like, I mean, this is a 3-day killing spree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if they were meth heads.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
It's for very little reward.
Yeah.
I mean, that Dodge Shadow was the biggest thing they got.
And then, like, when it's all over, some weird police auction. They're just auctioning out fucking curling irons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
So, obviously all that work
Excuse me.
was done by a group of 4 people. But this next story was committed by one guy. And he did a lot of work around the Christmas time.
Okay.
So, this was the 80s, John. Late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And the man's name was...
You were what, 25?
I was about 37 years old.
You were a
Yeah,
little older than Heather at the time, right?
I was a little older than Heather.
Mhm.
I looked a little older than Heather too at the time. Yeah. As you know, I am currently 75 years old.
Yeah. You look 76.
I look 76.
Yeah.
I got a little too much sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ronald Gene Simmons, that's his real name. Ronald Gene Simmons. On December 28th, 1987, he walked into a law firm in Russellville, Arkansas, and shot dead a receptionist who he was infatuated with, but who had spurned his advances. Then
I know, it just sounds funny.
then he went into the office of an oil company and shot 2 executives, killing one and injuring the other.
I know the victims' families aren't laughing like me.
Yeah. He then drove to a convenience store and former place of work and shot 2 more people who would both survive. So he finally did this.
I'm laughing at the absurdity of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are some people here that are probably pretty fucked up from all this.
Yeah.
Victim-wise.
Yeah.
But the words you're using and reading, like, their plans sound so fucking ridiculous. It's hard not to laugh.
So he finally, on that day, on December 28th, he would do the same at the end of the day at the Woolen Motor Freight Company, shooting and wounding a woman. Then he sat down and waited for police to arrest him. Now, this was a pretty heavy day, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went in and killed a receptionist, and then he killed another executive. He injured another person.
This is all in one location?
Different locations. It was a law firm, and then he went into an oil company.
Oh, yeah, the law. Okay,
And then he went to a convenience store, and then he went into the Woolen Motor Freight
You think
Company.
there's like a motive there, like like the law firm fucked him over, motor play? I don't know.
Well, the law firm was he shot the receptionist who he was like in love with, but she didn't return his.
Okay, so
that
was
yeah. So this is one day.
Guys, if you haven't noticed, I only like half paid attention to what Matt says.
So, let me read. That wasn't the total extent of what he did that Christmas season, John. Let me go back a few days.
He was a mall Santa. He had to get to work.
No, let me go back to.
Holy shit! Is that really what's gonna happen?
No, let me go back a few days. Don't get ahead of me. Let me go back a few days to Christmas Day. Christmas Day, Christmas Day, 1987, John. On that day, Simmons decided to kill all the members of his family.
Dude, I heard Gene Simmons wasn't very approachable, but I didn't know it was this fucked up.
So it wasn't Christmas morning. I'm sorry. It was on the morning of December 22nd. I'm sorry. He first killed his wife Rebecca, and eldest son Gene. So I guess he was a junior, Gene Jr.
So this goes back.
Yes. So this is where his killing spree actually started on December 22nd.
You like a Tarantino movie? You're telling us out of order and shit.
So he killed his wife Rebecca and his oldest son Gene by shooting him with a .22 caliber pistol, and then he killed his 3-year-old granddaughter Barbara by strangulation. Simmons then dumped the bodies in a cesspit.
You're here to lighten up the mood.
he dumped the bodies in a cesspit he had forced his children to dig.
Wow.
Yeah. Simmons then waited for his other children to return to the house, and after their arrival, he told them he had presents for them, but wanted to give them one at a time. He had first killed his daughter, 17-year-old Loretta, whom Simmons strangled and held under the water in a rain barrel. The 3 other children, Eddie, Marianne, and Becky, were then killed in the same way.
Okay. Well, turns out Gene Simmons is a real jerk.
So this was on December 22nd. He wasn't done yet, John.
Jesus.
So around midday...
I got a show tonight. Look at my tongue.
So around midday on December 26th, 4 days
They
later.
won't recognize me with my makeup on.
You think that's what it was?
I don't know. White and black makeup. Oh.
No, so around midday, 4 days later, John, December 26th, around midday, the remaining members of the family arrived for their Christmas visit. So the first to be killed was Simmons' son.
I have no gifts to bring.
So the first to be killed on that day was Simmons' son, Billy, and his wife, Renata, who were both shot dead. He then strangled and drowned their 20-month-old son, Trey. Simmons shot and killed his oldest daughter, Sheila, who he had also sexually abused, and her husband, Dennis McNulty. Simmons then strangled his child by Sheila, 7-year-old Sylvia Gale, and finally his 21-month grandson, Michael.
Yeah, that is a lot of killing.
Simmons laid the bodies of his whole family in neat rows in the lounge. All the corpses were covered with coats, except that of Sheila, who was covered by Rebecca Simmons' best tablecloth.
Again, the lounge.
The lounge, I guess, in the house.
Do you have a lounge in your house?
I have a lounge.
The fuck is a lounge?
No. So the bodies of the two grandsons were wrapped in plastic sheeting and left in abandoned cars at the end of the lane. After the murder, Simmons went for a drink in a local bar, then returned to the house. And apparently oblivious to the corpses lined up around him, spent the rest of the evening and the following day drinking beer and watching television. And that was on the 27th. And then obviously on the 28th was what I read to you earlier.
What do you think a guy like that watches?
After he killed his whole family?
Yeah, no, I'm curious, like, what is like a serial killer like? They probably don't.
The Price is Right?
I was going to say, it's probably nothing like dark. It's
Nah.
probably something really like normal, but weird. What year was this?
87.
Maybe like Cheers?
You watch Cheers?
Maybe.
No, because it's during the Christmas break. They don't show any episodes.
Reruns?
They probably show reruns.
Yeah, Three's Company. He's just watching Three's Company.
Yeah. But look at the list of people he actually killed.
Mm-hmm.
So on December 22nd, he killed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 family members.
Yeah.
And then 4 days later, he killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 family members. Another 7. So that's 14 family members he killed.
That's a lot.
And like 3 of them were under like 2 years old.
Yeah, I know.
14 family members. And then on December 28th, he killed 2 additional people. So that's 18. I mean, this guy was a serial killer.
I think I saw this in a Hallmark movie.
He did.
Yeah.
So Simmons was charged with 16 counts of murder, found guilty, and sentenced to death. He refused to appeal his death sentence, stating, "To those who oppose the death penalty, in my particular case, anything short of death would be cruel and unusual punishment."
Okay.
John Bynum successfully prosecuted the case. Simmons was first tried for the Russellville crimes, and a jury convicted him of capital murder and sentenced him to death. He made an additional statement under oath supporting his sentence. I, Ronald Gene Simmons, Sr., wanted to be known that it is my wish and my desire that absolutely no action by anybody be taken to appeal or in any way change this sentence. It is further respectfully requested that this sentence be carried out expeditiously. The trial court conducted a hearing concerning Simmons' competence to waive further proceedings and concluded that his decision was knowing and intelligent. Simmons became the subject of the United States Supreme Court case Whitmore versus Arkansas when another death row inmate, Jonas Whitmore, attempted unsuccessfully to force an appeal of Simmons' case.
This was over how many days?
Over 22nd to the 28th, over 6 days.
6 days.
3 days. 3 days of actual killing.
Okay, so in 3 days he did 12.
He did 18 murders, and then he injured another 3.
And they found him guilty of
on 16 counts.
Okay.
Sometimes for whatever reason they don't do all the. I don't know. It's weird. It's one of those like they don't.
Well, yeah.
They figure by, the 16th is like, well, I mean it's already gonna be.
Yeah.
So while on death row, Simmons had to be separated from other prisoners as his life was threatened constantly. It was because he refused to appeal his death sentence. The other prisoners believed Simmons was damaging their chances of beating their own death sentence. So on May 31st, Arkansas Governor and later President Bill Clinton signed Simmons' execution. And on June 25th of 1990, the same year,
Clinton?
He signed. Yeah, he signed.
Pardoned.
And he was executed on June 25th, 1990. He died by the method he had chosen, lethal injection. None of his relatives would claim the body, and he was buried in a potter's field. You know what a potter's field is, John?
No idea what a potter's field is.
It
sounds like an old, boring book.
It's a potter's field, pauper's grave, or common grave is a place for the burial of unknown, unclaimed, or indigent people. People.
So that would be like a Jeffrey Epstein grave.
Is that what Jeffrey Epstein was buried in?
Basically an unmarked grave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's, because since nobody would claim his body.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible, right? It's like,
do you want to give that eulogy?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a lot of killing in such a short time.
It's a lot of killing in this serial killer segment that you do. Notice that.
18 victims.
It's a lot of people.
Actually, 18 killings and 20 plus victims. He didn't kill every one of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's still a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I still want to know what TV show he was watching.
We'll never find out.
I want to know what they.
Never tell us.
Yeah.
All right, John.
That's why I want to catch up on Mindhunter.
Mindhunter's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's still barely started season 2.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can tell, I've been wrapping up the stories on. We started small, little.
Yeah,
method.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. You have been hilarious since we started. Like every word that comes out of your mouth is fucking hilarious.
So we started out small, one killing, we wrapped it up a little bit, and then we got like the little.
Like you have filled me with a Christmas spirit.
So this next one actually only involves one murder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one death. Let's just say I don't want to say murder because there's a lot of debates on this one. But it's probably the most famous death to ever happen around the Christmas time. Can you guess what I'm referring to?
I'm thinking. Is it a movie star?
No. But she was famous, or she became famous because of this.
Oh, man. No, tell me.
Do you remember, John? And we're probably pretty young when this happened. We were pretty young when this happened. Do you remember the case of the death of John Benet Ramsey?
Yes.
So, as you remember, she was actually found dead on December 25th of 1996.
Yeah.
So, for people who maybe be a little too young to remember this case, it made headlines in 1996 into 1997. John Benet Ramsey was an American child beauty queen who was killed at the age of 6 in her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. I remember this because I didn't know Boulder, Colorado was a city until this happened because it was all over the news. Boulder, Colorado, right?
Right.
And apparently, next to her body, a lengthy handwritten ransom note was found in the house. So her father, John, found her body in the basement of their house about 8 hours after she had been reported missing. She sustained a broken skull from a blow to the head and had been strangled. And a garrote, was found tied around her neck. The autopsy.
What's a garrote?
It's like
a rope.
You ever seen like in like movies, like a guy comes behind another guy and he puts like a piece of wire,
like a hitman kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like, where do you even buy that shit? 'Cause it's weird. It's like when they stretch it out.
Yeah, it's just a piece of wire.
Dental floss.
No, it's not that.
I'm just saying.
I guess it's dental floss. It would break probably.
It kind of works like a yo-yo, but stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The autopsy report stated that the official cause of death was asphyxia. I can never pronounce that word. By strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. Her death was ruled a homicide. The case generated nationwide public and media interest, in part because her mother, Patsy Ramsey, herself a former beauty queen, had entered JonBenet into a series of child beauty pageants. The crime is still unsolved and remains an open investigation with the Boulder Police Department. And I think,
I'm not saying nice like nice. I'm just saying ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched a lot of that, but I forgot a lot of it.
And like the mom died like 13 years ago, 14 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
the dad's still alive.
Okay. Yeah, I know there was like a 911 call.
Well, what was scary about it is that, obviously...
It's a weird case.
Well, the fact is, if somebody else did it, and somebody came into their house, took their daughter... Now, granted, they had money, they had a big house, but it's still creepy to think that if this is the way it happened, somebody outside the home came into their house and murdered their daughter and then just took off and left a note there.
Yeah, and I've seen the note a few times. I haven't even explored this case in a while.
Mm-hmm.
When did it happen?
In 1996.
No, I'm saying, do you have the date?
December 25th, 1996.
Oh, it was on... Oh, you're right. It was on Christmas.
It's Christmas
Day. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because usually they do, like, these whatever things on TV. They try to, like, not reopen, do little specials on it and try to go back to the case. But
yeah.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know. So initially the police did suspect that that ransom note was written by the mom, and that the notes and the way the bodies the little girl's body was put together was like staged by her parents in order to cover up the crime. But in 1998, the DA said that due to a new DNA analysis, none of the immediate family members were under suspicion for the crime.
Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of weird theories.
And also in 1988, the police and the DA both said that JonBenet's brother Burke, who was 9 years old at the time of death, was not a suspect. I remember that aspect did come up, that maybe the brother had done it, and he was 9 years old at the time. Maybe like it was an accident, and they tried to cover it up. That was one theory floated around.
It's not too far fetched.
No. Yeah, it's such a creepy little story, like Christmas night, and like, ugh.
It was definitely somebody, in my opinion, definitely somebody in the house that lived there.
It seems unreasonable. It seems weird that somebody from outside the house would have done this and then not done anything to anybody else.
And then wrote a note.
Yeah. Because initially, wasn't it? I think the dad had called and they reported her missing.
Right.
And then he miraculously, and it's weird because the police
he picked up the body too and like ran it up the stairs. Well, she was in the basement, right?
The basement, and the police let him search the house. Like, it was weird that the police was just. And granted, sometimes when it comes.
Wait, the police let what?
They let him search the house. Like, he called because they reported her missing, and then they let him search the house, and that's when he's like, "Oh, I found the body."
Yeah, and it's and there's an argument too. It's like, well, he picked up the body, he ruined the crime scene. But I guess you could argue that's like an instinctual thing to do, is pick up your kid's body.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So of course, like, blood on him and stuff. It's her blood and stuff. It's like,
yeah.
And I don't know. There's like weird shit. Like people like, I don't know. I think there was something like they thought some department Santa Claus might have done it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird theories.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's a dark case. That'll probably never be solved.
So in October,
just like OJ, mysterious. No evidence.
So in October 2013,
all circumstantial.
In October 2013, unsealed court documents revealed that a 1999 grand jury had recommended filing charges against JonBenet's parents for permitting the child to be in a threatening situation.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, man. Put me in a situation. I can't make JonBenet Ramsey jokes. Jesus. But so it's funny we laughed earlier.
For what?
Because I sent you a text.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna say the joke,
Uh-huh.
but it is that David Spade has a. If you have a dark sense of humor,
Look up David Spade, John Bonet.
yeah, Google David Spade, John Bonet Ramsey joke,
Yeah.
and if you have a twisted dark sense of humor,
Yeah.
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah.
Still a fucked up case, but he's a funny guy.
So before we go, I want to go over some of the theories that they had about John Bonet. Since this was a really big case, and we probably gonna done a whole episode on her, but I just didn't want to concentrate on just her.
I don't remember it well enough.
Yeah, and it probably would have been one of those like, hey, read up on John Bonet. But there was two theories involving family members. About her. One of them was the family member theory. So Boulder police initially concentrated almost exclusively upon the parents, John and Patsy Ramsey. So according to Greg McCary, a retired profiler with the FBI, statistically it is a 12-to-1 probability that it's a family member or a caregiver who was involved in the homicide of a child.
12-to-1?
12-to-1 probability.
That it's any family member?
That it's a family member or a caregiver when it's a homicide of a child.
Huh. Okay.
Because you wonder, hey, a child, who's going to be close to that child? Their parent, their family member, or somebody taking care of them.
Right.
It's very rare that a stranger's going to kill a kid. Even though people, stranger danger, everybody's so afraid of it. It's like the probability of your kid.
Would you give Casey Anthony 12-to-1?
12-to-1. So the police saw no evidence of a forced entry, but they did see evidence of staging of the scene, such as the ransom note. They did not find the Ramseys cooperative in helping them solve the death of their daughter. The Ramseys had said that their reluctance was due to their fear that there would not be a full investigation for intruders and that they would be hastily selected as the key suspects in the case. One theory is that...
sounds like something a lawyer would tell you to do.
Right. So one theory is that Patsy, the mom, struck John Bonet in a fit of rage after a bedwetting episode and strangled her to cover up what had happened, after mistakenly thinking she was already dead. But Patsy did not have a known history of uncontrolled anger. John Bonet's brother later said, "We didn't get spanked. Nothing of the sort. Nothing close. Nothing near laying a finger on us, let alone killing your child." Theoretically, the strangulation could have been a red herring aspect to conceal other elements of the assault and killing. So Burke, the brother, who was 9 years old at the time of John Bonet's death, was interviewed by investigators at least 3 times. The first 2 interviews did not raise any concerns about him. A review by a child psychologist stated that it appeared that the Ramseys had healthy, caring family relationships. In 1998, Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner said during an interview with a news reporter that Burke Ramsey was not involved in the killing of his sister. In May 1990, the Boulder County District Attorney's Office reiterated that Burke Ramsey was not a suspect. The investigators had never considered him a suspect. The Ramseys offered a $100,000 reward in a newspaper ad dated April 27th, 1997. 3 days later, more than 4 months after the body of their daughter was found, they submitted for the first time to separate formal interviews at the Boulder County Justice Center.
If you offer $100K and they find out it's you, you still pay?
You pay the you had to, right? No way.
Probably sue you, right?
Yeah.
And they're rich.
So this is the other theory, John, the intruder theory.
Mm-hmm.
So the second theory is the intruder theory. So the Ramseys developed a relationship with District Attorney Mary Lacey and her office, which was criticized by authorities such as the city's mayor, Leslie L. Durgan. Although the police may have still suspected the Ramseys, they and the prosecutors followed leads for intruders, partly due to the unidentified boot mark left in the basement room where John Bonet's body was found. The police routinely ignored leads to any suspects outside of the family. Early suspects included neighbor Bill McReynolds, who played Santa Claus. As you mentioned Santa Claus.
I remember the Santa.
Former family housekeeper Linda Hoffman Pugh, and a man named Michael Hillgoth, who died in apparent suicide shortly after John Bonet's death. Hundreds of DNA tests were performed to find a match to the DNA recovered during her autopsy. Smith assessed the evidence and concluded that an intruder had committed the crime.
So nobody on that list.
On the night John Bonet was killed, there had been 2 windows that were left slightly open to allow for electrical cords for the outside Christmas lights to pass through. A broken basement window and one unlocked door. Smith's theory was that someone entered the Ramsey home through the broken basement window. This had been criticized because there was an intact cobweb in the basement window. The steel grate that covered the window also had undisturbed cobwebs, and the foliage around the grate had been undisturbed. There were also cobwebs in the tracks of various windows, and dust and debris were still on the sills. So these cobwebs give it away, John. The spiders did it. Smith
The spider attack.
Smith believed that the intruder subdued John Bonet using a stun gun and took her down to the basement. John Bonet was killed and a ransom note was left. Smith's theory was supported by former FBI agent Johnny Douglas, who had been hired by the Ramsey family.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Johnny Douglas is?
No. Do you?
I think he's somebody famous. He like that name. Yes. So he was actually the guy who inspired. Remember Jack Crawford from the Hannibal movies?
Okay.
The Silence of the Lambs and.
Okay.
Remember the boss, the FBI boss?
Okay. So what's her name's boss?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
this guy was he's the one who inspired that character.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then he actually did inspire the main character from Mindhunter.
Oh, is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The main, like the young guy?
Yeah, the young guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they based it on him. I saw his name. I've seen his name a billion times. That's why. So this theory was supported by him. The Ramsey family actually hired him. Believing that the Ramseys were innocent, Smith resigned from the investigation on September 20th, 1998, 5 days after the grand jury was convened against the Ramseys. While no longer an official investigator on the case, Smith continued to work on it until his death in 2010. So, there you go.
You know how to bring out the Christmas spirit, don't you?
And with that, John, yes. It's a wonderful way to start the month of December in this Christmas time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was actually kind of down before this.
And now you're up.
Well, I wouldn't say up, but you gave me a lot of information on how not to get away with murder.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a way to do it, right?
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, you reminded me that I need a new curling iron.
I promise the next few weeks is gonna be a little bit. Next week's gonna be a fun one. I already have the topic picked out. I'm not gonna do the way I did it this week, where I'm picking it the morning. I already started working on it, so. Next week's gonna be fun.
Christmas Serial Killers Part 2.
No, it's gonna be a lot of fun. This is what I do. I start off the month a little like downer, but then I bring it back up. So by the end of the month, we're gonna have a lot of fun, John.
It's like you're conducting a symphony.
Yes, it's like
of murder
down, and then I bring up with cheery.
Mm-hmm.
So next week's gonna be a lot of fun. You're gonna have a lot of fun next week.
I don't believe you.
I promise you're gonna have a lot of fun. I promise our viewers are gonna have a lot of fun.
I really, really don't believe you at all.
So, John, since we're starting this wonderful month that you love and cherish and look forward to all year long, the last month of the year, before we go, do you have any advice on how people should conduct themselves during the month of December of 2019?
Guys, don't do meth.
Don't do meth? We did learn that today, right?
Yeah, don't do meth. Especially around the holidays. Just.
I think that's what it was. It's just like, you're doing meth and it's Christmas time. You just like get antsy and you just
we've all been there.
You just get like into like, you need to kill a few people.
Still have that favor I got to talk to you about after.
So other than don't do meth, do you have any other advice?
Not really. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't even know what this thing was about. I'm just down. I actually want an Awesome Blossom, but Chili's is closed.
Yeah. Well, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week's episode is brought to you by Chili's.
Yeah. When you're too lazy to do dinner for the family, take them out to Chili's.
See, they used to do the Awesome Blossom where they would stack it.
Is that what
And
it
they
was?
switched to Awesome Blossom petals where they just throw them in like a thing now.
Did you just look it up? We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, because I was
Just look
curious.
at it.
Yeah, I was curious.
So what's Chili's that did the Awesome Blossom?
Yeah, it was Chili's.
So they did awesome. Okay, the Awesome Blossom was what again?
They're onion rings, but they
No.
used to just stack them like kind of like a tower.
So that was the Awesome Blossom.
I believe so. Yeah.
But why was that called a blossom?
They have something called blossom sauce.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the only reason.
Okay.
Yeah, but they don't stack them anymore like a little kind of volcano-ish shaped like a tower.
So it went through evolution. You said the second one was what?
The first one was the tower thing.
Uh-huh.
And they would stack them.
Okay. What's the
Guys,
second
if I'm wrong, leave comments or something.
Uh-huh.
I remember that Awesome Blossom.
Uh-huh.
And now they just got lazy to do Awesome Blossom petals.
And what does that consist
They
of?
just like pieces of onion rings, but they still kept the sauce. And from what I understand, the sauce is still
Pretty
the
damn
same.
good.
Yeah, it's still good.
You've tasted the sauce?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
It is good.
It's pretty good. So the sauce is really what makes the...
I think that's why you
The
call it
appetizer.
Blossom, yeah.
But that's really what makes the appetizer.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Have you ever just gone and just had the appetizer and then left?
Like without paying?
Without pain. Yes.
I stole this lady Discover card. And then it got worse.
No, I mean, like that's all you ate. Like, you paid for it. You gave
You're
the
asking
proper...
if I've ever just had an appetizer?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Probably. It's usually accompanied with alcohol, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's just... Yeah.
You just going to a Chili's on a Tuesday night and having
Yeah.
an Awesome Blossom by yourself.
That guy's just eating the petals. Serial killer.
That is an act of a serial killer, right? Just going to a Chili's and eating an appetizer.
No, it's like no crust.
Nothing. Like, it's just... You don't need to order a drink. It's just like, no, it's just dry.
Yeah. Do you have
Nothing to down
Do you have
with,
Cheerios with no milk?
right? Do I?
No, I'm saying that's
Yeah.
something you like
Yeah.
ask.
I've eaten Cheerios with no milk.
Yeah. Or do you have Cheerios with a warm glass of milk on the side?
Oh, weird. Just crunching away as you drink your
Yeah.
milk. Yeah.
In a corner booth.
Uh-huh. All right. So that's John's parting words for this week. And with that, we leave you for another week.
Alrighty.
All right. Bye-bye.